Good morning, everybody. Welcome from London to this, our 28th UFI Connects, I believe. We have a 1-hour UFI Connects today. We've got quite a lot to get through, so we'll crack on. The topic today is the green shoots of recovery. You know, are we seeing as more and more exhibition centres around Europe and indeed across the world are opening their doors, thankfully, once again, to face-to-face exhibitions? We're all very pleased to see, of course, this taking place, but we're at the same time worried that our customers, our exhibitors, have understandable reservations to come. So we have with you today 5 exhibition organisers who have successfully staged events in the past 5 weeks. I'm just going to share again my screen so you can see who they are and introduce them properly. Come along. So from Fiera Milano, we have the mobility manager in the security department, Alessia Andreoli, and they launched Milan Única, a fashion event last year. We also from Italy, we have Marco Carniello, the group brand director of Voice, the Italian exhibition group. We have Canan, Karaosmanoğlu, forgive me, Canan, for not pronouncing your name right, from iZFAS, from Izmir International Fair, and Canan is also standing for the board elections for the upcoming UFI regional chapter elections. We have Stefan Koschke, the show director of Caravan Salón, which you may have seen the fantastic reports, a B2B, B2C event, which welcomed 107,000 visitors over 10 days, concluding last week. And Paul Marceul, the chief marketing officer from Luxexpo, the box, who had a really innovative solution to get around the regulations that were in place in Luxembourg. So without further ado, I'm going to invite the speakers. Before I do, just some housekeeping to let you know. So we're going to have 5 speakers. Please, if you have any questions, ask them in the chat, and the UFI team will come to you. And if you have your cameras on, you can ask them yourselves. Because obviously we're keen to kind of share the learning, share the experiences as we all start to plan our own exhibitions, be they in October, November, or even in the new year. So without further ado, I think we're going to kick off with Marco. Hi, Marco. Please unmute yourself and over to you.
Hello, Nick. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. And thank you, UFI, also on behalf of Italian Exhibition Group. Thank you again from sunny Italy. I have some slides to share with you, and I think it's going to be easier for me to explain what we did with YEG. So let me share my screen in a moment. All right. Just let me check if it's all right. You see the slide? Perfect. So what I think is interesting to also go you through what we experienced since we actually had a wonderful show in January, at the end of January, from 17 to 22nd. We have a Vicenzaro January that was probably the most successful edition we never had with the Italian Exhibition Group. We had 1,500 exhibitors, more than 35,000 visitors. Is a B2B show with 60% and more of international visitors. What happened just at the end of the show, as you all know, and unfortunately, in exactly the day after we shut down the show, the successful show, China imposed a strict lockdown in Wuhan. And from there, the world really started to change, and we couldn't expect it. So in our calendar, we had Vicenzaro September, which is the second show we run in the year. So the first one we do in January and the second one we do in September. And of course, it was very difficult to take the decision of what to do in September, even we were still 8 months far from that. So we actually jumped into a very uncertain environment with news that were changing every day. And what we did is we started a redesign phase. So from February to May, we basically jumped into a new phase where we were studying, elaborating new ideas and sharing ideas, especially with our stakeholders, let's say. So we had a direct line with exhibitors, associations, institutional and local stakeholders, and we had with them weekly calls. We didn't have the answer to them, so what we decided was to share every week the evidences and the data we got. So we didn't have the answer, but we wanted to share based on what we were taking decisions. And that was an interesting decision we took, because that was very much appreciated by every one of them. So we shared the government regulations, the airline operations, the confidence index, of various index we created just to navigate better in the uncertainty environment. So in the redesign phase, we were together with the exhibitors, visitors, and all the stakeholders. And basically what we're coming up was, you have to do something, don't stay silent, take the lead, be positive. So we decided that Vicenza Oro and Italian Exhibition Group had the responsibility, had the leadership to do something. And so we decided to create something that was more a community event than a pure business event. We knew already in February, March, and April that was very difficult to expect big business in September, because the evidences were pretty clear on that, or at least not clear, but for us was pretty clear. And we really wanted to create something for the community and to building confidence, because it was much worse to stay silent and not do anything instead of push to the restart and making clear to all the world that we can do business again on stage, on the pavilions. And the other point that was coming out during our redesign phase is the fact that we needed strongly to communicate to the world that Italy was, you know, was lively, was working, was open to business, and we definitely we were not the outbreak of the coronavirus as it was in the news for some time, the lockdown. So a big, strong objective of communicating to the whole world that Italy was live and was open to business, as was keep on producing beauty things for the world. So what's the Voice? Vicenza Oro International Community Event. So first of all, we changed the name. We didn't want to risk our reputation, because Vicenza Oro actually is a brand. So we didn't want to risk the brand awareness and the brand reputation of Vicenza Oro. So we created Voice, which is Vicenza Oro International Community Event. So was an event, was different than a trade fair, a normal trade fair, and was basically composed by three different elements. First of all, was a show, a physical show, 3 days instead of 5, but is also a summit. So the conference element was very important, because we knew that we had to create contents to be spread around to all the world, to all our community around the world, to everyone that was not able to reach our country in September. And of course, we needed a summit to involve the leaders of the industry, and so we did. And third, Voice, of course, in its naming, it has its reason why. So we give voice to the entire industry, and so Voice was a communication platform to distribute whatever we had in the pavilions throughout the world and throughout the industry. So we finally did it. So we made it. We had 370 exhibitors in the halls. We weren't using all the halls, just half, let's say half of the fairground we have. We implemented a new layout, a new fittings, first was to create something new. Secondly was to lower the investment requested from our exhibitors. And third was to control the safety measures we had to take care of. So finally we were in the halls again. Here you have a couple of pictures on how was the show. Was very simple but very elegant and chic. So that is actually some of the values of what we do with the Vicenza and Italian Exhibition Group, and was fantastic. Everyone was very happy. Just to give you an idea for the ones of you that didn't visit Vicenza before, in January the halls were more or less like these. So the stands were much more expensive, of course, with a different look and feel. And but what we decided it wasn't a time to keep this model for September, and we did the right choice. Another big thing we with Italian Exhibition Group we did was investing in having our own protocol to make the business safe, because we were sharing with our stakeholders, visitors and exhibitors, whatever we were doing. And basically the big messages we were delivering to our community was it is much safer you coming into our show than when you go to your grocery store, because it's true we had a specific protocol using the best practices of UFI and the major associations around the world. We were respecting, of course, the national regulations, and we also implemented the GBAC star for our international sanification standard. So if you want to have some more information on these, please go on our website on iegexpo.it. That was very key to convince people to come into our halls, and that was a successful key initiative. Another key initiative we took is creating a lot of content with live streaming events. So we really had a studio, a television studio within the halls that allowed us to, on 2 stages, to run 40 live events with all the protagonists, with directions that you can experience when you watch Sky TV or something like the CNN, something like this. That was absolutely a very important move, because thanks to all these contents, we reached the amazing number for us of 3.5 million views over the 3 days using our website, our YouTube channel, Facebook account, and a lot of Instagram. And another interesting thing I like to share with you was because Vicenza is a very international show, we normally expect more than 60% of people from around the world, from 120 different countries. We knew that many of our buyers, they couldn't come from US, from China, from Middle East. So we implemented the buyers virtual rooms. So we had 15 rooms that were equipped with laptop, internet connection, high definition video camera, and so we could organize more than 200 virtual meetings between buyers that were sitting on their offices and homes very far from Italy, overseas in US, in Mexico, but also in Asia and in Middle East. And our exhibitors, they could move from their stand, from their booth, and come here for 45 minutes and having all the tools to share the new collection, the new innovation and stuff to the buyers they were connected virtually. That was an interesting move we did, and was very successful. Then, of course, and now I'm closing. Of course, the big success of Voice was the fact that we designed Voice with our stakeholders, with our exhibitors. And then, of course, this is the graphic we used when we said thank you to everyone on the last email. And you see the V of Voice, meaning our voice, and the V is done, if you just zoom in, is done with all the names of the 370 exhibitors that were with us, because they were brave like us. They believed in Italian exhibition group, and we did very, very well with them. And of course, the very last slide is people first. So there's no technology or no cutting edge innovation that can you know, replace the people, teams, and motivation. And that probably was the best asset Italian exhibition group put on the ground to, you know, to deliver voice with such as high satisfaction from everyone. So thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Marco. And yeah, on that last point, look, obviously we are a people industry, we're the face-to-face industry. And, you know, unfortunately, we're qualified together as mass gatherings under WHO. So one of the first things we've had to do is to explain the difference between an organized business meeting and a mass gathering like a pop concert or a festival. Because of course we don't want to put, you know, any of our visitors or exhibitors into undue risk, but, you know, we've proven, you know, ongoing in the past and certainly now that we can do that. Great. Okay, moving on to Izmir, sunny Izmir in Turkey. Canan, if you can unmute yourself, and over to you. So, sorry, before, Marco, we had a couple of questions there. If we leave the questions for now, but there's a couple of quick ones, perhaps you could just even answer in the chat. You know, is Italian Expo Group a private company? What was the number of your total attendance? So perhaps, you know, easy questions like that you can answer in the chat, because I think there'll be some generic ones coming up later. Great. Thank you. Over to you, Canan.
Hi, Nick.
Hi.
Hello.
All good. Over to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I thank first to UFI for this timely event. I'm attending this meeting on behalf of iZFAS, the Turkey's leading fair company. iZFAS is a sub-company of Izmir Metropolitan Municipality, and we have a unique city coalition management structure at iZFAS. The mayor of our city is the chairman, also Izmir Chamber of Commerce, Asian Region Exporters Association, Asian Region Chamber of Industry, and Izmir Commodity Exchange are the shareholders of iZFAS. All these economic umbrella organizations of our region are presented at our board. And the primary aim of iZFAS is to contribute to the city's economy and business, both at the national and international levels. And iZFAS is the first Turkish member of UFI since 1947. As a venue owner of 330,000 square meters and 4 exhibition halls, we organize 14 exhibitions, 6 congresses, 75 national and international events throughout the year. Also, iZFAS hosts 17 guest exhibitions in a year. At our trade fairs, we host more than 800,000 visitors and 7,000 exhibitions per year. And so far, iZFAS is the pioneer of trade fairs in Turkey. The first trade fair in Turkey started in Izmir and has been organized without any interruption for 89 years so far. Being the very first trade exhibition of Republic of Turkey, Izmir International Fair is the heritage of our city. For the previous 6 years, we also organized Izmir Business Days as a high-level international G2G and B2B event in addition to the Izmir International Fair. The purpose of Izmir Business Days is to contribute to business and economic context under the patronage and support of Minister of Trade. And Izmir Business Days is a high-level forum including G2G meetings between Ministers of Trade and other economic partners. And every year within Izmir Business Days, we host hundreds of official delegation members at ministerial level from over more than 40 countries. And previous editions of these Izmir Business Days were organized physically in Izmir by the partnership of countries including People's Republic of China, Russian Federation, India, Serbia, and under the patronage and support of Minister of Trade of Republic of Turkey. But this year, for 2020, our Izmir Fair and Business Days were planned to be organized within the theme of Mediterranean, the Blue Continent. It was planned to host exhibitors, delegations, and visitors through all Mediterranean basin. However, unfortunately, in March, world started to suffer from the pandemic, and there has been a lot of restrictions, not only about the social and daily life, but also in business activities too. So exhibitions are postponed or canceled, and the exhibition industry has to come a standstill. All the physical exhibitions were prohibited by the Minister of Trade in our country until the 1st of September. So we transformed all our plans and projects towards hybrid and virtual events. We opened the very first virtual exhibition with a B2B platform. It was for the shoe and leather industry, and it took place in June, right at the peak point of the pandemic situation. And in addition to this, we made our own digital trade fair software investment in order to make our own virtual exhibitions with our own staff and abilities. And we follow the world exhibition industry, the technology innovation, and during the pandemic, we stay fully connected with our exhibition partners and customers, and we try to keep them informed about the new way of doing fairs, and we try to adapt our new system to their needs and demands. And right after the prohibitions are lifted on the 1st of September in our country, we launched Izmir International Fair just physically on September the 4th. And we organized the fair in full accordance with the public health instructions by the Minister of Trade. Also, we did not postpone the Izmir Business Days. Instead, we did it online. Izmir Business Days event was followed by over 8,000 professionals from 11 countries, and 9 sessions took place, and these were simultaneously translated into Turkish, English, French, and Spanish. The ministers from 4 countries, 4 Mediterranean countries, Turkey, Spain, Italy, and Morocco, had speech at the opening session. It was about the evolution of conditions after the pandemic. And we also physically managed to open the international fair. It was for the 98th time. And we managed to do this because we stay connected to our exhibition partners and industries during the pandemic. We made all necessary investments. We have a young and dynamic team who follows and adapts to innovations and developments in the world. Although the number of exhibitors decreased from 650 to 60 this year, we managed to open the exhibition as the first physical fair in Turkey during the pandemic. I strongly believe that this brave move will help to unleash the potential of the exhibition industry in our country. We attribute uttermost importance to be brave, to raise hope, and to be together, and we are trying to our best to provide these in a holistic way. We opened the first online fair during the pandemic, and we also opened the first physical fair as soon as the prohibitions are lifted. We stay connected not only with our partners and customers, but also with our colleagues and UFI members. What we learned from the pandemic is we have to stay brave together and connected. And we are ready here in Izmir for any international cooperation during these challenging times. I thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you, Canan, for an update from Turkey. Very good to hear. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the main chat and we'll perhaps get back to them at the end. So moving slightly further north to Germany. Before I come to you, Stefan, you know, we were talking just now about how it's important that governments recognize and support the relevant exhibition industries. And Germany is perhaps, you know, the leading example of this. In May, they were the first government or federal state to recognize that exhibitions were different to other types of mass gatherings. And in fact, this week, they classified travel to international trade fairs as essential travel. So this kind of joined up thinking approach, logical approach from the very top leadership is crucial to give this confidence and reassurance that we so badly need. Here in the UK, for example, you know, I don't need to tell you, you know, go into the details, but we're fighting against that. We don't have that kind of joined up support from the very top levels of government. So Stefan, you know, some amazing stats that you have, and we're all kind of very pleased to see that in Europe. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you and good morning. Thank you to UFI to have the opportunity to speak today to you and talk a little bit about the restart of our business at Messe Düsseldorf. And yeah, first show was Caravan Salon. Yeah, let me say it was a tough time beginning with a decision in May of our government and also of North Rhine-Westphalia to allow to do shows. But it was a tough discussions with the exhibitors, and well, some of them decide, also of the big companies decide not to come to this year's show because of the reasons we all know. But well, let me say some big companies which took part at Caravan Salon also extend their space, and this was a good situation for us. It gives us confidence that the decision to do Caravan Salon was the right decision. And well, Caravan Salon is a little bit special. It's an end consumer show, and that makes it a little bit different to other shows here in Düsseldorf, which are much more international. So our visitors are, let me say, 90% from Germany, and the rest is normally, well, Europe, a little bit of overseas, but Europe. And yeah, this also gives us confidence that it makes it that the visitors will come. So we announced a concept, a hygiene concept, which is understandable. That was the most important point, and which looks to the reality of the people here in Germany and Europe. So wear a mask, keep the distance, all these things which everybody knows from going to the supermarket, going to a car dealer, to all shops. So we want to create a normal situation where the people can have where the visitors and the exhibitors can feel confident about that everything works. And yeah, I can say at the end of the day after the show that it really works. The people yeah, accept our rules. Well, wearing a mask, keep the distance, and we give them a lot of space in our planning. So normally Caravan Salon has around over 100,000 net square meters. Now we had 70,000 square meters. So that's less, that's clear. But it gives us the possibility to widen the aisles and all these things, and gives the people space that yeah, they have a good feeling when they go to Caravan Salon, and coming to the right mood to buy products. And this is also a thing. The show works because the people bought a lot of recreational motorhomes and caravans and all the stuff around, and that shows yeah, that you can do a show, that you can do a show secure, and yeah, well, we are happy about this success. Let me say, we had normally we can have 20,000 visitors per day. We had less. That's a situation. But the visitors which are taking part, which are coming to Caravan Salon, were good visitors, were buyers, and so also with less visitors, we are very happy with the situation. And yeah, well, also the exhibitors give us yeah. This is a sign of confidence for them for the future. That's what I can explain or tell you about the current situation. But let me say, it is a special situation because over 90% this year come from Germany, from the visitor side. Also a lot of people from the Netherlands. So it's not that international than it was in the past years. But it was a success. Yeah. What else? So the protection concept was for us the most important point, and we worked on this concept yeah, a long time together with the Ministry of Health, and well, we were very sure that it could work, and that this thing, all the things, the measurements we did worked very well. Yeah. So
perfect. Thank you. I mean, that, you know, again, great to hear and really reassuring for everyone listening, no doubt. I had a question sent in overnight, and I see a couple of our colleagues on the operations side on the call. So to do with the build-up and the breakdown operationally, you know, how did that work? Was there any kind of, how did you control people? Was there any new technology involved?
Well, we used some apps which we can, well, we had online completely online ticketing, which is not usual for an end consumer show, though everybody has to buy a ticket per day. This was clear, and at all areas where you took off your mask, you has to be you can be scanned, and then we have the data of the people which we need for the case that something happens. So we had the system in all areas where people eat, where people sit. So we control them and know who is at which time at which place. So it's a we use the scan to lead system for that, and yeah, gave that to all exhibitors, because they have a lot of catering areas, and so they need a system, and we offered this to them, and it works very well.
Great. And I mean, I don't want to do your PR for you, but, you know, looking at your press release, of course, you know, many people, and in fact, Marco referred to it at the beginning, like, you know, the question is, do you go ahead with a show that will be perhaps less than it was in the past? And in fact, they changed the name of the show so that it didn't, you know, affect the brand, impact the brand. So, you know, this confidence thing again, of course, we will be used to restrictive measures wherever you are in the world. That's slightly different, and fewer visitors. But it seemed that the fewer visitors didn't actually impact ultimately the sales, which is what it's all about.
That's what the exhibitors told us. Some of these companies sold more vehicles than they did before, because in this special situation, visitors which are coming are good visitors, because they are very focused what they want to do, why they are coming. So the result is positive. So we can say some of our exhibitors told me, it's good, let it be the same in next year with less visitors but better buyers. Yeah, well, let me say, so the focus on the right visitors was for the exhibitors very good. But we also need the B2B visitors from the global markets. That's clear. But at the moment, it is okay. But of course, we want to have the same numbers in the future as we had in the past. So in 2019, we had 270,000 visitors. So it's you see, that's the difference is very heavy. But well, from the point today, what we see, we are now looking which visitors are coming, and all these. The evaluation will be in the next weeks, so we can see what are the learnings for us.
Great, perfect. I mean, just incidentally to tell everybody, we have a study coming out in the coming weeks, which we conducted with Explory, which is the global recovery study, and we spoke to 9,000 exhibitors and visitors. And, you know, thankfully, the results were very positive. On the exhibitor side, over half said they expected their exhibitor spend to come back immediately, and 28% said within a year. So, you know, despite all these, of course, we've all been meeting virtually in these last months, almost across the board, exhibitors said that they cannot get the same value, that live absolutely blows virtual out of the water. So whether that's, you know, ultimately generating business leads, networking, innovation, etc. Content was one which, because as we know, content can successfully be delivered. But on most of the important metrics, the statement was clear that exhibitors and visitors really want to get back to the show floor. Of course, we have concerns to address, and we will. Great. So again, there's some questions coming in. Perhaps we'll come back to you, Stefan. So moving on to Alessia and into Milano. Ciao, Alessia, if you can unmute your microphone. Buongiorno.
Here I am.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Just a few seconds to share some slides with you. Can you see it?
We can. So if you start the presentation, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Is it working?
If you, yeah, that one, click that one. Bravo.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm very glad to be here with you today to share the work done by the Fiera Milano's team to prepare us for hosting events and exhibitions safely and preventing the spread of the new coronavirus. As the title of today's meeting properly recalls, one of our goals for the near future is to rebuild the confidence and inspiring trust in our customers. Just a few words to introduce myself and my company. My name is Alessia Andreoli. I've been working in Fiera Milano since 2002. Fiera Milano is a top exhibition company in Italy and one of the first in Europe referred to 2019 data. Currently, I work in security department as mobility manager, so I've been involved before in the risk assessment evaluation and then in writing the protocol to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus contagion during events and exhibitions. This is some Fiera Milano highlights. This slide represents the roadmap we follow to prepare and identify our response actions. After the framework analysis to collect guidelines and prescription, we uploaded the risk assessment involving our main stakeholders to define preventing and real-time actions. At the end of each event, we analyze the data collected to assess the need to modify the planned actions to make them better suited to our safety goals. Let's do a quick focus on national regulation. In Italy, the basic prescription are social distancing, 1 meter minimum of physical distance. Gathering is strictly prohibited. Mandatory face mask in indoor places accessible to the public, including means of transportation. Appealing to the sense of responsibility of the participant themselves. And incoming in Italy to join to an international exhibition, obligation to present to the airline upon boarding the certification of doing in the 72 hours before the arrival of a molecular or antigenic test with a negative result, obviously. We wrote a protocol that explains activities and prescription for events and exhibitions, with the active participation of our main stakeholders, such as organizer, of course, but also government authorities at national and local level, law enforcement, and public transportation provider. We updated our emergency and evacuation plan and our health plan to include the planned activities for our new COVID risk scenario. We classify the planned actions into different categories, preventing actions and real-time actions. Preventing actions include information about bans and rules for preventing the contagion, before opening sanification, reservation required to prevent crowding, and some additional planning rules. For example, points of attraction inside the halls are distributed uniformly to avoid localized crowding, wider lanes to facilitate physical spacing, and incoming and outgoing flows of visitors should be separate. For more details, you can visit our site www.fieramilano.it/safetogether/. And then here you can find the main real-time actions we manage during the exhibition time. The access is denied without individual health protection devices. This duty applies in closed spaces, of course, but also in open spaces if it's impossible to guarantee physical distance. The access is denied too to anyone refusing to measure the temperature or with a temperature higher than 37.5 Celsius degree, We do a double measurement with different types of detection instruments. Flow and queue monitoring and management, flow segregation, and real-time information about bans and rules from preventing the contagion. Training and increasing in security and cleaning staff. Sanification and hygiene that include environmental sanification, continuous cleaning of spaces and surfaces at risk, and disinfectant gel dispenser located within the fairground. We also stocked ticketing data for 14 days for infection tracing. We provide safe catering with a delivery service to each stand too. And finally, air conditioning system are managed without a reciprocation function, but only with external air replacement. In the cloakroom, personal clothing and other items are closed in single-use bags. Finally, you can see in the pics some samples of real-time actions we improved. At the top left, an example of how the digital transformation implemented last summer supports the widespread of information about the essential rules adopted in Fiera Milano. On the right, some examples of information conveyed through the fixed, horizontal, and vertical signs. You can see that the same icons and color codes are used throughout the exhibition center to provide our customers with uniform and congruent communication. Finally, at the bottom left, you can see the flow routing set up for pedestrian accesses, which allow us to prepare people for temperature checks, maintaining social distance and separating people with temperature above 37.5 Celsius degree at the same time. I'll wait for your question. Thank you for your attention.
Perfect. Thank you, Alessia. You know, and interesting to see again the regulations that Fiera Milan came up with. If you could stop sharing your screen.
Yeah.
So, you know, and again, back in May, when UFI were looking at the various, if you stop sharing your screen, stop participant sharing.
Does it work? So, okay.
Yeah, perfect. So, you know, we were looking
Thank
at the various protocols and regulations people were adopting or people were publishing around the world. And most of it is common sense. You know, 90% of it is similar. We put it together in a global framework, which is now we've updated it in our good practice guidance. I will share the link down below in a minute. But again, you know, we are used to, as you know, going to shopping centers, going out into airports, some of us, and going around and used to these measures. So there's absolutely no reason why people, you know, as Stefan said, shouldn't be used to following these protocols, you know, just normal common sense at our events. Absolutely no reason at all. Brilliant. So on to our final speaker, and then we'll have some time for questions, hopefully. Paul Marceul, who's from Luxexpo The Box, who had a very interesting solution to get around their local regulations. Over to you, Paul.
Hi, and thank you, Nick, and thank you everyone for giving me the opportunity to talk about our experience about our box street market. And I'm very glad to be here to speak about restart the events, because it's a very positive sign. So thank you very much. I will share my screen. Wait a second. Okay. Okay, does it work here?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So I will only present one business case, one of many actions we have undertaken over the past month. It's just one example of what we did, and there are many other actions to come. We have a world project which is called the Back Together project, and yeah, the box street market was part of it. So, well, just a short reminder, so everyone is aware of it, about the situation by mid-June 2020. Yeah, everything was set to be quite depressed. We had a beautiful beginning of the year with successful events, and people were enjoying our events. And then, yeah, the lockdown came, and we faced a probable loss of 70% of our turnover. We had to cancel, postpone one of our major events by mid-March. 1 week before the opening. It was a very hard decision we had to take. Well, so okay. So then we had 3 months. We thought live events, and we used the time to contemplate, to think about the way how we can do events in the future. And yeah, we were working a lot actually. We visited some events, some small events which were taking place in Germany. We were brainstorming. We gathered a lot of information, a lot of data about the new measures, about sanitary restriction. So we were perusing the whole UFI documentation, and thank you for that, because it was very interesting and very helpful to have all this data gathered by you, and yeah, it helped a lot. Yeah. Also, what ICA did, so we were looking at all this information. We had contact to local authorities, to local health authorities. So yeah, we were perusing a lot of data, and then we drafted also our own protocol based on this data. So, and these guidelines were meant to be a guide for safe COVID-proof events, and yeah, where actually our measures are quite the same as all the measures which were mentioned before, so I won't get back to it. But we presented our guidelines to the national authorities, so we're quite happy with it. And we began to make new collaboration, especially with a local interior designer to conceive new rooms which were COVID-proof, but which were also very pleasant to work in. So we decided to use Corona as an opportunity to rethink everything, and to make the things, the way we do our job, even better. And well, so we decided the show must go on. Yeah, we were on a mission to save our company, to save the whole local industry, because we are a very important customer for all our suppliers, because we in Luxembourg we have 90% of the major events held in our venue. So yeah, we were on this mission to save the jobs, to save the concept of live events in Luxembourg, because yeah, the press was also talking only about digital events, and it was quite challenging. Yeah, and Luxembourg was also in a red zone, a sort of no-go area, because we had so many COVID cases, but we were also so many testing everyone. So therefore we had very high figures. So it was a very challenging time and difficult with a lot of uncertainty, but anyway, with some hope, because outdoor fairs were allowed again from mid-June. So it was a positive sign for us. And both our team and our customer were and still are highly motivated to do something. So we could build on their support. Yeah, well, so we were thinking what we can do. Indoor events, no way, it was not possible. Also, we have a nice venue with 38,000 square meter, but yeah, we had to reconsider the venue and to think about the place where we could hold an event. And yeah, it all started with a PowerPoint presentation, and yeah, we decided to use our car park. because our car park is like mostly outdoor, so we have 3 levels and a lot of fresh air coming in. So we were seeking as a contact to the authorities. First, we wanted to use the whole car park, but at the end we were allowed to use only the rooftop. So we had a nice rooftop event. So we were quite limited with the room available, because we have the rule of 4 square meters for each person. So we had not a lot of places for a lot of stands of stalls, but anyway, we had 60 stalls, so it was nice. It's more than enough. And yeah, we planned the whole event within 5 weeks. So we stick to our back together guidelines, to our sanitary protocol. And yeah, we were just thinking, what are we allowed to do? What can we do? Because yeah, fair, it was also a little bit complicated. So we did a market, which is actually a market or a fair, it's quite the same sometimes. It was B2C, yeah, it's important to say. And to be honest, we received the official authorization to hold our events 2 days before the opening. So it was quite challenging. So we collaborate with our customers. We were talking to some exhibitors, to event organizers as well, and to artists and other suppliers. And we decided to set up a project for the whole community. So one very important part of the concept was everything was for free. So we injected a lot of money in the restart because we had no income by that time, and we still not have a lot of income for the time being. But anyway, we decided to invest and to show that, to demonstrate that events are possible again, that it's possible to organize safe and nice events. And yeah, all the exhibitors were invited. It was everything for free, and they started again to earn money, which is great, because if our customers have money, we will have money as well someday. And yeah, it was a sort of celebration of live events. Everyone was invited, also the public, and everyone contributed with something, like with communication, with entertainment, with food and beverage. So at the end of the day, it was a very nice event, and also a very important event to show events are possible. We have to live with Corona maybe for a longer time, and yeah, if we live with it, if we live with it, we have to cope with it, and we have to think about a nice way to live with it. It's important. So yeah, I can maybe show a very short video about the event. It's a little after movie. So and on the right you see some key figures and key facts about the event. So we had 10,279 visitors over the weekend. It was in August. So in August, most of the people are away from Luxembourg, but now with the travel restrictions, not everyone. But yeah, so it was a success. We had 200 people for the exhibitors, 55 exhibitors, exhibiting companies, and most importantly, no incident, and also no cluster of COVID due to our event. And it was it showed everyone that it's able to hold safe events. So I will just show in a moment.
I'm sure you had some nice music on it.
So well, it was our event. It was really nice event. So just to tell something about how we were preparing the event as well. So we had to address all the what ifs, all the buts, all the questions. What if no visitor is coming? What if someone is ill? So I have classified all our target groups according to their level of fear. So I think the general public was quite okay with everything. They were not very afraid of joining an event. They were looking for events. They were very happy to have an opportunity to meet each other again and to celebrate something. So for the public, we focused on clear communication, on the health concept measures. We reinforced the whole staff to help people to enforce enforce the measures, to explain the measures, to give some mask if someone forgot his mask. So for the whole implementation and enforcement. For the public, it was important to make the measures visible and perceptible. So as you saw in the video, you see a lot of dispensers, a lot of people giving sanitization and a lot of room. Yeah. For the exhibitors and event organizers, the biggest fear was not about the health, because obviously they were happy to earn money again. It was the same for the suppliers, but we shared our health concept. We also had a clear communication on the health measures, and we supported them in the implementation of the concept, because we have guidelines like to 20 pages, and for some of the exhibitors it was quite complicated to understand, or they didn't know how to implement, and we had a lot of meetings with them to explain what we have to do now, and so they were quite happy with that. And yeah, we offered the stalls and the stands for free, so there were no financial risk for them, and it was a great incentive to join. And the authorities, it was the most difficult part, yeah. So we communicated also a lot. We sent all our data, all our documentation, all our measures. We were talking to them to be sure that we are compliant with all official recommendations. The fact that the event was held outdoor was also a plus for them. And yeah, we had this transparent and constant communication. Yeah, about the communication, because I think the communication was key. We communicated via all channels, so online, offline, and in 5 different languages, because Luxembourg is a quite international places. You have a lot of people speaking, so Luxembourg is a national language, but you have a lot of people speaking Portuguese as well, French, German, English. So we used, yeah, we did the communication in all the languages. We wrote a lot of press release to influence also the press, to show what we are doing, to show we are able to reopen. We had a lot of actions on social media. We sent numerous newsletters to all participants, to all stakeholders. We drafted a FAQ section on our website with a dedicated page, and also a hotline which was set up to welcome all the questions and to answer all the questions of the participants and exhibitors. And the core message was back together in safety and comfort. So the people had to know they will visit a nice event, a very cool event, and not a prison or an hospital. So it is also funny as well. So the communication was before the event, during the event, and after the event. before the event or during the event, we were explaining the whole customer journey, the whole customer experiences on social media. So we shared some short stories about what you have to do, where do you enter, where do you register, because the registration was online, where is the entry. On the front of the door, you see the people with some dispensers here also. And we were reminding the people of all the distance regulations, and just showing it. And we were communicating a lot. Sorry. Okay. We were just showing how it works in the venue, and we pushed a lot of messages during the event so that people are aware of what they have to respect. But honestly, it's not that difficult because, as other participants say,
Paul,
yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I guess in the interest of time, we can share your presentation.
Okay,
with
okay.
everybody. We can send it to everybody afterwards with the recording of this.
Okay, so just the key. Sorry.
A germ-killing robot.
Yeah, we are a germ-killing robot, but anyway, I won't show all the videos. So the key takeaways about what we think was working for events was a clear communication on all channels to make the measures very visible to all participants so that they feel safe, to make the measure fun and easy to implement. We hired a lot of extra staff for the implementation and enforcement. It was very important. We were very careful with music and alcohol because people were willing to dance again, and dancing is not allowed for the time being. So it was difficult. But what we learned, people are willing to comply. They are responsible. They are used to the safety measures and health restrictions. So there is actually no problem to reopen events. We were working with the B2C public, which is another target as B2B, and I think B2B will be even easier. People need good memories for 2020. It was not the funniest year of our history, and real encounters matter.
Perfect. Thank you, Paul. So in the interest, I mean, we've run over a little bit, so we don't have any time for questions, but if you do have any questions, we have them in the chat. And if you have any further ones, please email them to UFI, and I will talk to the speakers and chase them up for their information. But I hope you agree, we've had some really positive feedbacks coming in privately and on WhatsApp, that this has been really useful because, of course, you know, people want to know experiences of what's going on out there. So I just posted a link in the chat. We have updated, you may have seen our good practice guidance, which we produced in association with ICA and AIPC. So we updated it this week, and it has 12 case studies of exhibitions taking place in China and Asia around the world. We will carry on collecting such case studies from Europe and everywhere in the world. If you have your shows are opening, coming up, please let us know at reopen@ufi.org, and we will continue to share it and to run sessions like these. So yeah, I mean, again, apologies for running over slightly, but thank you. I want to really thank our speakers, Canan, Alessia, Marco, Paul, and Stefan. To those of you, you know, VJ had a question about what 2 takeaways would we get? As I said, I'll try and follow up with the speakers and get some information. But obviously this will be published online with all our other UFI Connects, and I'll try and get the presentations to put them up there too. So my final obligation is to let you know that we have another UFI Connects coming up next week on Tuesday, which is Tezi Bao, an update on the exhibition, think tank and hybrid events. And finally, just want to thank our diamond sponsors, which are Thailand TSEB, Qatar National Tourism Council, and Shenzhen World and Freeman. So thank you all again for joining us. Hope you find that useful and look forward to seeing you at the next one.